Taoiseach, you say here that this mortgage crisis is the single biggest issue facing our people. That's what you said here this afternoon. You'd never guess that if you were to look at the level of inactivity of your government on this issue. You see, you promised a lot when you were on the opposition benches. You promised a lot in your programme for government. You said that your government would pursue a radical approach to protect families in fear of losing their homes. Because you're right, individual circumstances of mortgage holders do differ. However, the common thread is the fear, the absolute gnawing fear of families that they will lose their home. So we're 14 months into your government. You've delivered the Keane report, that was 7 months ago, and precious little else. And Taoiseach, for people who find themselves in mortgage distress, it is of little comfort to them that you have established a cabinet subcommittee. You say that you want to know the scale of the problem. I think the figures are out there. 15% of mortgage holders are now in serious distress. That's 115,000 households. We know, because Patrick Honohan, Governor of the Central Bank, has told us that 25% of all mortgage values are either in arrears or have been restructured. That's the scale of the problem, and well, you know it. So why is it, Taoiseach, in those circumstances that the personal insolvency bill has been delayed? Are you letting the banks, are you letting the Troika set the agenda on this matter? And when is it, Taoiseach, that you will start in a decisive way to put distressed mortgage holders before bankers or before your friends in the Troika?
Thank you.
I reject your assertion that we're letting the banks dictate the agenda here or letting the Troika dictate the agenda. As you're well aware, the government and the ministers concerned have made numerous changes to the Memorandum of Understanding with the Troika in respect of the harder pressed, lower paid, difficult situations that many people find themselves in here. Yes, of course we know the numbers, Deputy McDonald, of course we do. But the regulator has asked for a report from the banks by category and by sector to see the ranges that are in here. We know the overall numbers, and they're very distressing. And clearly, with the numbers rising, this is a matter of absolute concern. I don't expect that the Cabinet Subcommittee, which I formed because of my concern for this, is going to have all the answers here. But it does have the clout, Deputy McDonald, to call in the agencies, the ministers and the departments and the banks to get a constant update on what's actually happening here. Now, I'd like to see the report from the financial regulator, who knows what he's doing here. And he has pressure on the banks, as have the government, to categorise this so that we know the sectors and the nature of the types of mortgage distress that are out there, so that people can sit down and say, in your circumstances, we propose the following options. Now, nobody wants to see anybody lose a house in this country. But clearly, it seems to me as if there are some cases that are in very dire straits indeed. There are those for whom solutions can be found, be it mortgage to rent, mortgage to lease, split mortgages, trading down, the negative equity opportunity that is there on offer from a number of new initiatives. There were 1,000 homes, I understand, repossessed in Northern Ireland last year. I don't want to see that on any scale down here. There are clearly some people realise the serious difficulty that they're in. So as soon as the regulator has the report from the banks, we want to see how that sets out the scale and the nature and the category of the distressed mortgages. But believe you me, Deputy McDonald, the personal insolvency bill is not delayed by virtue of the fact of your assertion that the banks run the agenda here or the Troika. The personal insolvency bill, a great deal of work has gone on that, and I expect it, as I said to Deputy Martin, to be published in June. I know you'll contribute constructively to that bill when it comes in here. I'd like to see it actually pass through the House before it rises in the summertime. It may not be possible to do that, but it is a major and complex piece of legislation dealing with something that has never been tried before here in Ireland, which is a non-judicial recourse to borrowers to get out of the distressed situation that they're in, and is an opportunity for banks to assist them in that regard as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Taoiseach. Deputy McDonald.
Well, I'm astonished to hear, Taoiseach, that you have to establish a cabinet subcommittee to assert clout in these matters. I would have thought that you, as Taoiseach and head of government, have sufficient clout to call to account whatever department or whatever statutory agency you wish on this matter. You see, you behave as though you're a spectator in all of this, and you talk about the financial regulator. It seems to me that the financial regulator must be tearing his hair out at this stage. He said, for instance, yesterday that it's clear that banks need to do more than offer only interest-only repayment periods to people, because that seems to be the only solution that is widespread. It seems to me that you're happy to let the financial regulator flap about. It seems to me that you are very reluctant, as head of government, to intervene in a decisive way. Last July, you recapitalised the pillar banks to the tune of €17 billion. These banks have the capacity to absorb some of the losses from distressed mortgages, but you're not prepared to put any pressure on the banks. You seem to have long conversations and chats with them. Perhaps they come in and visit your subcommittee as well. But what we need now is action. And the personal insolvency legislation has been delayed. Are you saying to us that that has not happened at the behest of the banks or the Troika? Is it simply down to government inefficiency, or perhaps to your own lack of clout?